Well, again, welcome. Today, we are going to talk about a really important topic. Might sound boring to some people, but it's something we all struggle with, I'm sure. Maybe you know that you should eat better and exercise more, but it's not always easy, is it? It's all about habits, building healthy habits today, but building habits that stick. How do we do that? When you're trying to make a change, it takes time, and we have become very impatient with ourselves, with what we can accomplish. I always feel like I should be able to do more in less time. I need to give myself time to do things, to get things done. When it comes to feeding ourselves and cooking, we have gotten used to the drive-through and instant this and that, and the pickup groceries. I do that often. I did it a lot during COVID. A lot of things we don't allow time for. Habit change is one of them. We expect to change overnight. We know what we should do. And then when we can't accomplish it, it's frustrating. And we often tend to just give up or move on and forget about it. I want to give you 3 tools today, strategies, maybe is a better word, to help you form healthy habits that stick. Okay. So as I said, we know when we're trying to make changes, it takes some time. Some have said that it takes 21 days to form a new habit. I think that's ridiculous. 21 days is no time at all. 21 days might get us used to doing that habit, but for that habit to stick, 21 days really isn't long enough. And so if you expect a habit to form and stick in a short period of time, you'll probably be disappointed when something comes up or gets in the way or your schedule changes, and then you find you've gotten off track and you feel like a failure. It's to be expected, so don't be too disappointed with yourself. Habits take longer than 21 days to stick. Now, some people have thought, well, it actually takes 66 days for a habit to stick. I don't know how these numbers come up, but I guess they have done studies and they poll different people or whatever. We now know that it depends on the person. We all have different personalities. And it also depends on what change is being made. So the bigger the change or the more drastic the change from what we're used to, we would expect, right? We should expect that it might take a little longer. It's going to be a little harder. Okay, so there's 3 things we're going to cover today that can help you establishing these healthy habits and make them last. So think about maybe for yourself. How have you tried to establish the healthy habits that you know you should have? What have you done in the past? What are you doing now? And what habits do you feel that you should or could be making? Drop them in the comments for me. So if you're watching live, hello, say hi, drop me a comment and let me know you're here. What healthy habits are you striving to improve right now? Put them in the comments for me so I know. I continue to strive to exercise regularly. I continue to strive to get outside for fresh air and walks. And as the weather cools off, it gets a little harder for me. I strive to eat healthy meals. Most of the time I cook from scratch and I don't allow myself enough time. So I need to allow more time to cook these meals because it does take time when you're chopping vegetables and doing everything from as fresh and whole as possible. I do also, do some more convenient style meals, and I try to plan leftovers, but often with my family, the leftovers get taken for lunch and they don't last another meal. However, that's my home. I don't know. What's yours like? How are you with meal planning? What kind of habits do you need to work on? Hi, Lucy. Lucy says she needs to sleep more. Yes. Well, sometimes I need to work on getting to bed sooner. Sometimes I just need to figure out why I'm not sleeping better, but I am working on the same thing. I need more sleep. I need better sleep. So I am actually working on improving my sleep. Okay. Habits. Books have been written on this topic. Habits are a hot topic these days. Whether it's eating habits, exercising, building consistency, building motivation, work habits, time management, even relationships. There are so many things that people are working toward building better habits with. Habits are hard to form. Why are they hard to form? Well, I've sent out a couple emails lately, and maybe one is going to go out today. So if you're getting my emails, check them out because you'll get more details in there and a little bit of homework to get you working on something. But let's start with how we think. So there's two sides to our brain. We have the logical, which is how we make our decisions, and we're thinking from our logical brain all the time. And sometimes we're not aware of the other side of our brain, which, well, there's a subconscious brain and the part that is more emotion based. So we have logical and we have the emotional. We'll talk about that. We think our logical brain is in control, but really the emotional side is much stronger. There's been a lot written about this, and I've been learning more and more about how the brain works, initially for myself, but now as well to help my clients overcome what, they're struggling with. But if you read my newsletter, you'll get more information about a book and about, a guy riding an elephant and who's really in control, the guy on the elephant or the elephant. What do you think? Okay. Our brain is actually at odds with each other sometimes, with this logical side that we want to do something, and our emotional side, which pulls us another direction. So that emotional side is always going to win until we figure out how to bring the two side by side and working for us. So the key is knowing our motivators. So if you want to change, you need to know why you want to change. So think about it. So think about a habit or something you want to do more. Let's say exercise. You're struggling to be consistent with exercise. You know you should exercise. You want to stay healthy. You want to stay fit. You want to maintain your strength as you get older. You want to boost your weight loss in a healthy way. So you want to exercise, but you're struggling to do it. Why is that? So first of all, instead of just focusing on the exercise and always being disappointed and frustrated with yourself that you're not doing it, step back and even get out a piece of paper and pen and write down why you want to exercise. So this could be eating healthy as well. So you know logically that you need to exercise and maybe eat healthier. So how are you going to create the emotional connection to that? You need to dig deep with good questions. So start with why you want to do this. Why do you want to exercise, or why do you want to eat right? And then ask again, why? 3 to 4 times. This is called, digging deep, going down. And again, if you get my emails, you have a whole series of questions and an example there of how to go through this process. I don't want to spend too long now, but let's say I want to exercise because I want to lose weight. Okay, well, why do I want to lose weight? Well, I want to look better and feel better. Okay, why do you want to look better and feel better? Well, I don't feel good about myself when I don't look good. When I look in the mirror and I'm not happy with myself, it affects my self-esteem. Or maybe I don't feel good about myself. Okay, well, why? Why does it affect yourself? Because I know that I could be doing better. I know I don't have to be like this. I know it's not good for my future. I want to, yeah. So you just keep digging deeper. And I mean, for me, It's because I want to be healthy as I get older. I want to be able to play with my grandkids and be part of the family fun and enjoy as much of my family as I can for as long as I can, and not be the frail old lady in a chair watching all the fun happen. I want to be in on it. So that's me personally. What is it for you? Ask the questions, because when somebody tells me they want to lose weight, I never stop there. Why do you want to lose weight? What does it really mean to you? And eventually you'll get to the real emotional part that's motivating you to do it. And that's what's going to help you make the change, by remembering what your motivators are. Okay, let's move on. Number 2. So that's number 1, is know your motivators, know your why. Number 2, focus on what you can control. We can control behaviors. We can't control our outcomes. So I have no control over the future, as much as I would like to. And I'd like to know what's going to happen with all the efforts I put into things. I don't know. There's too many other factors involved, but I do have control over the behaviors I have. So I can control. So you can't control your weight. That's an example. Okay. You can influence your weight, but you can't control it. So what you can control is whether you exercise and eat well. Those are behaviors that influence your weight, right? After all, if you exercise and eat right, your weight should be affected in a positive way. But if at some point your weight isn't changing, but you're doing all the right things, and I hear this all the time, people think they're doing all the right things, but nothing's changing, okay? If you're always focusing on the weight or the outcome, you're going to be disappointed. So if you focus on the behavior, even when things aren't going right, such as you continue exercising 3 times a week, or you decide you're going to exercise 3 times a week, that's going to be your focus. You're going to feel a sense of accomplishment once you have exercised 3 times that week, because you've done what you've set out to do, right? It's these little accomplishments that help us feel good about ourselves and that push us on, that helps our motivation when we see progress. So focus on your behaviors, not your outcomes. When you have the right behaviors done consistently, it will produce the outcomes we want. So another thing about accomplishments, I am a very accomplishment-driven person. Small accomplishments build on each other. So start small. You start to crave the feeling of accomplishing something. So your consistency will improve over time. But again, focus on the things you can control. So focus on small improvements in building your consistency with exercise, or focus on the small improvements that will improve your eating habits. And again, if done right, like you focus on the right things, it will produce the outcome you want. I know there are people who aren't getting those outcomes. They're not quite sure what they should focus on. I can help you with that. You just have to ask. Okay, number 3, think small when it comes to change. I know this is a regular theme for me, taking the little steps and keep stepping. But when it comes to change, people tend to try and bite off more than they can chew at one time, right? We think we can do so much more than we should be trying to do, especially when it comes to changing habits. So think small. The more things you can try to change at the same time, and the more drastic the change, the less likely you are to be able to stick with them. That's why crash diets don't work for the long term. So when you come off the diet, you end up going back to your previous ways of eating. But if you make one tiny change with time, that change will get easier and easier. So over time, we build up the habit of these little changes, and they become not only easier, but they become more natural and they become a regular part of your lifestyle. This is a lifestyle change. And once that change has become natural, then you can pick up another little change and start implementing that and just keep building one change on top of another, right? Imagine if you just chose one little change every month, where you'd be after a year. You will be in a totally different place. And if you're working on health-related habits, you're going to have a very different lifestyle. You're going to be far healthier at the end of a year by looking at one small change every month. And it won't feel hard if you're just working on one little thing every month. So that's what we call sustainable change, okay? So if you're trying to do something on your own and you're trying to do, you know, everything all at once and it never works for you and you always, you know, kind of go back to where you were, maybe it's just because you're trying to do too much all at once without getting, you know, maybe the help or support that you need. If you're trying to do a big change or a lot, don't feel bad about getting some support and getting some help. That's what I do. I help people progress faster and easier than they usually can do on their own. All right, so let's wrap it up. We'll summarize the 3 keys. Does anybody remember what they were? Number 1, the key is knowing your motivators, your why. And it might help to write them down, not just write down your goal. We often focus on our goal. And you could write that down, but write down why. Why is that goal important to you? And every time you get discouraged, remember your why. Number 2, focus on what you can control. Focus on the behaviors that will lead to your outcome and just keep doing those behaviors. And reward yourself for being consistent with those behaviors, regardless of the outcome. Maybe you'll lose a pound this week. Maybe you'll lose 2 pounds this week. Maybe you don't lose any pounds this week. But if you exercise 3 times, if you ate healthy, reward yourself for those behaviors. You can feel good about yourself for doing the behaviors because with time, it will pay off. All right, and number 3, think small when it comes to change. Don't try and do everything all at once. One step at a time. As we always say, progress over perfection. Just keep stepping forward, one small step at a time, and you will make progress. All right, I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you're watching the replay, type replay and let me know what habits you're working on. Are you working more on building more consistency with exercise? Are you working on eating better, maybe habits or changing the way, maybe the way you eat or what you eat, when you eat? There's so many different factors involved in food. And if you'd like more help and encouragement to create those healthy habits in your life, feel free to send me a message, comment in the comments. If you want to have a little chat, I'd be happy to talk to you and discuss with you how I could help you, just briefly or in one of my programs. I'd love to work with you as well. And please consider joining me and fellow coach Lucy for the 28-day Healthy Transformation Kickstart. We are going to be starting on October 23rd. We're going to provide you with nutrition, exercise, mindset coaching. You're going to have easy to follow workout plans, meal plans, recipes, everything to help you clean up your diet and become more consistent with your exercise and even lose some weight if that's what you're interested in. If you sign up by October 16th, which is this coming Sunday, so only a few days, we are offering a free bonus offer, which is our course, Mindset Shifts for Healthy Eating and Weight Loss. So that's going to give you a real boost to getting a great start at this 28-day program. So remember, if you have any questions about it, just send me a message, contact me. I'd be happy to chat about it and see if it's a good fit for you. Otherwise, thank you for joining me.